Right, and I'm certainly not an attorney, so I don't want to have that be out there as that I'm trying to indicate such, but I know that Dale has had some direct experience or direct involvement in that.
Reason. Yeah, there we go. They're on now. Got it. Dale Alverson again from New Mexico. Senator Hagedorn, I just want to follow up on this interesting question, because we've been called by attorneys, trial lawyers, for the opposite reason. There have been 2 cases now for bad outcomes for the failure to use telehealth. That if they had used telehealth, they could have made a more appropriate diagnosis and intervened, and these were 2 wrongful death cases. So it's a two-edged sword, as I often say, with a lot of technology, damned if you do, damned if you don't. If you use it but don't use it appropriately, you're liable. So it has to be addressed. But there is an evidence that telehealth will become a standard of care to which rural healthcare facilities in general will have to adhere. And we've had some really interesting discussions about when does something become a standard of care. I'm not sure telehealth is quite there yet, but it's going in that direction. So it's an interesting question. And I'll want to address a little bit more of licensure, credentialing, and verification. There's a huge effort underway, as Mary has alluded to, through a number of organizations, including the Center for Telehealth and eHealth Law, ATA, and also the Federation of State Medical Boards, to try to address this issue. But we'll talk more about that later. Thanks.
All right. Thank you. One last quick question, and then we need to segue into the next part of the day.
My name's Gary Kahn. I'm a primary care physician up in Boulder, Colorado with HealthBridge Systems. Just to answer one of the dermatology questions that that was just posed about the mole. In fact, there are studies, that showing that dermatologists who use photographic enhancement and visualization, as is true in many other fields of medicine now, actually can get a better diagnosis, and so than they would just with the naked eye. So in fact, I think that may be something that also needs to be considered, that the technology is not limiting anymore. In fact, sometimes it's enhancing, true in radiology as well. But my question, I wonder if you'd address the licensing issue briefly as it relates to nurses versus physicians.
Yes, the Nursing Compact has really helped with a lot of that. But there is still, the nurses also still need to be licensed in the state in which they are providing the care. If they're a part of that compact, then that kind of resolves a lot of that. But not all states are part of the compact, excuse me. And so yes, nursing is also an area where that licensure issue must be paid attention to and adhered to.
Okay.
Is it 32? Something close to that. Obviously not everybody is in it, but I think it's past that majority mark. It's either like 28 or 32 or somewhere in that area. So.
Okay, thank you so much, Mary. That was terrific.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, what a terrific platform to build the rest of the day on, to understand some of the potential and possibilities of this new direction. I don't think I could have asked for a much better segue into this idea of a tipping point, because I think a number of you are eager to try to figure this out. And so what we'd like to ask you to do during the break, and let me give you a little time check here. I'll explain this at 10:30 when we reconvene. There is a change from the written agenda. There was a speaker who became ill with walking pneumonia, and we actually have a monitor on her to make sure she is indeed walking. But she could not join us. So Doris Barta from Montana will not be here, but Deb LaMarche is here and is acquainted with the program in Montana and is actually going to give us a little bit of both worlds when she starts, but we're not going to do that until 10:30. So what we'd like to do between now and 10:30 is give you a little bit of an opportunity for kind of a soft break. It won't be a real official break, but there will be time for you to go use the restrooms and get coffee and so forth. But there is a task, too, and it's a task at your tables. And about, I think it was probably 8 or 10 years ago, there was a book by Malcolm Gladwell called The Tipping Point. And it really sort of took the bestseller list by storm, which is really what the book is about, is how do you enter an idea or a practice into people's minds and then just have it spread in a very rapid way. And so that's some of what we're tasked with, I think, in terms of telehealth. There's a lot of potential, but if the physician 150 miles away can't access what you're trying to show him or her, it really doesn't do much good. I'm sort of reminded of, I think it was 1992 when I was living in San Francisco, and I just got my America Online account, and I knew that my neighbor, my friend who lived on one hill over in San Francisco, that he was going to get it too. So we called each other like 6 times trying to arrange. So, did you get it turned on? Yes, I think we did. And okay, I'm going to send you an email. Okay, hang up. And we hung up, and then we only had one phone line, and so we're like, did you get it? And had to call back, but we couldn't call at the same time we were emailing because it was using the phone line. And it was fascinating because we went to this great effort to send one email to each other about probably about half mile, and we had a direct line of sight. We could have sent a smoke signal easier. But it was the beginning of me. It was my first email. It was his first email, and then about 2 years later, the university where I was working started broadly instituting email, and then now email is everywhere. It's ubiquitous. You can't. A lot of times people won't even send letters or take letters. You have to use email, or there's online registration only. So that's kind of the question here: is when is this going to become ubiquitous, so it really becomes a part of the standard of care, and it's just woven into the pattern of how we do things in Colorado, and it sounds like New Mexico and some other states are have a good head start on us. But the question is, what do you think would make it begin in Colorado and really sort of take hold? So you didn't have this nagging doubt that the specialist 150 miles away might actually be able to have the equipment and the wherewithal and the mindset to actually be able to help you with your particular problem. And so if you look in your binders, you'll see a yellow piece of paper, and it's just a little worksheet. And what we'd like to ask you to do is in the next 15 minutes, or 10 or 15 minutes, to simply have a conversation at your table about what you think the tipping point is. And what we'd like to ask you to do is to, you only have to do this one per table, is to write down whatever ideas you come up with, the 2 or 3 things that you come up with before you leave your table. And if you want to take your break first and then come back, that's fine, as long as you all agree as a table to come back and do this work. And then give your yellow sheet to either Liza in the back with the white shirt on or myself. And then what we're going to do is we're going to try to sift through those, and then we'll make a polling slide. So later this afternoon, we'll share sort of a synthesized version of what you all have done, and then we'll give you a chance to use a keypad polling to see what the group really thinks might be the tipping point. And not by coincidence, that'll be a pretty good guide for action and to help us give some concerted way of moving forward. So go ahead. We're going to officially break now until 10:30. But please make an opportunity or arrangements, whether you do it now or in 2 or 3 minutes, to stay at your table and have a conversation with the folks that are around you about what you think the tipping point is. And one other thing I want to say, we've got some small tables, so if you want to consolidate, that's great. But what I'd like to ask you to do is, because we are trying to get some way of doing some crosstabs on the keypad polling by region and by profession and so forth. So if you move tables, take your keypad with you. And here's just a tip for everybody. Turn your keypad over, the one that you've been using, and you'll note there's a number. Just jot that number down on your agenda or some piece of paper that's near you. And it's not absolutely critical, but to the degree that you're able, try to keep the same keypad throughout the day so that we can sort of see how the same person answers different questions. So we're going to break now until 10:30. The tasks are to get a little comfort break and to have a conversation about what the tipping points are and to get one yellow sheet per table to either Liza or myself. So we'll reconvene at 10:30.